Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're zeroing in on a really crucial time, fifth grade,
Ages 10 to 11, right?
that bridge year.
Exactly. And you, our listener, sent over this fantastic document, 10/115th grade.pdf. Our goal today is to really pull out the key insights. We want to understand the big shifts cognitively, socially, emotionally, academically as these kids gear up for middle school.
Yeah, and more independence.
Right. And the document makes it clear. Fifth grade isn't really about mastery of elementary school. It's more prep work.
It's all preparation. That's a great way to put it. And you know, fifth grade really is this fascinating crossroads. You see the last bits of childhood kind of bumping right up against early adolescence.
Yeah.
And this PDF, it does a really good job showing how many different things are clicking into place all at once.
It's not just like harder math problems.
No, definitely not. It's way beyond that. It's like a fundamental rewiring almost in how they think, how they handle feelings, how they connect with people. Okay, so let's dive in there. Starting with the brain changes the cognitive side,
Okay.
the document talks about some pretty big leaps in thinking, like deeper abstract thought.
Yes, exactly. They start to grasp cause and effect over time, not just immediate consequences.
So thinking about what-if scenarios, planning ahead.
Right, and thinking about the big picture a bit more, that part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex, is really developing.
The planning and impulse control center.
You got it. And that helps them grapple with trickier moral ideas, too.
Oh, interesting, like ethical dilemmas.
Yeah, and personal responsibility, even ideas about justice. It's not just black and white anymore.
They start seeing the gray areas.
Precisely. And, this helps them engage with stories, with books and movies on a totally new level. Educators can really use that.
And it's not just abstract thinking, right? The document mentions executive function getting stronger.
Absolutely. That's the brain's, CEO,
Okay.
helping them organize, plan multi-step things, like a big project.
And crucially, looking back and learning from what they did. Self-reflection.
Yes. That self-reflection piece is huge as they head towards middle school. And tied into all this, there's this growing self-consciousness. They're suddenly much more aware of how others see them.
And how they affect others.
Right. The document has this great line, learn to think like a student, act like a team member, and feel like an individual.
That really captures it. But here's a tricky part the doc raises, this self-awareness. It doesn't automatically mean they can manage those feelings yet.
Exactly. There's this gap, right, between seeing themselves more clearly, warts and all, and knowing what to do with that information.
What does that look like?
Well, the document gives examples. Like a kid makes one mistake on a quiz and says, I'm just bad at everything.
Oh, yeah. Totalizing.
Or holding on to a grudge with a friend for way longer than they used to.
Fixating, maybe.
Yes. Or getting really fixated on getting one task absolutely perfect, almost obsessively. They might be sort of trying on different ways to react and be.
So they see the flaws, maybe for the first time clearly, but the emotional toolkit isn't quite there yet.
It's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
And the document suggests guiding their reflection, not just letting them spiral.
Asking things like, okay, that was tough. What could we try differently next time? Focusing on solutions.
Right. And compassionate accountability. So you validate the feeling, I hear you're frustrated, but then gently nudge them forward. That doesn't mean we stop trying.
Building that resilience, that growth mindset.
So important for middle school pressures.
Yeah. Okay, now, the document also mentions something many people notice, potential differences based on gender that seem more pronounced now. We need to be careful here, right? These are trends, not rules for every kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
General observations, tendencies. Every child is an individual. But the doc does point out some patterns researchers see.
Okay.
Socially, maybe girls forming more intense, emotionally deep friendships, maybe being more sensitive to peer dynamics.
Right. And boys.
Perhaps masking emotions more, maybe using humor, focusing a bit more on, group status.
And what about cognitively? Any potential trends there?
Well, the document suggests, and again, these are broad strokes, maybe girls showing stronger development in writing or reading on average, while boys might lean more towards systems thinking, math, spatial tasks. But again, huge overlap, lots of variation.
Got it. And then puberty hits, which complicates things.
Big time. Girls often start earlier, the doc notes, which can lead to more body awareness, maybe more talk about it among friends.
Whereas boys might start later and maybe deal with any discomfort or identity questions more privately.
That's what's suggested, yeah, quietly.
And how they view themselves might differ too. Girls internalizing pressure more, boys deflecting with bravado or just checking out.
It's possible. It just shows how they might process all these changes differently.
And the document stresses being really aware of any early questions about gender identity or body image, right?
Critically important. Fifth grade can be when feelings of gender dysphoria might surface for some kids, or when they start exploring labels.
So creating that supportive, open space is key.
Absolutely essential.
Okay, let's shift to the classroom. What are the big academic themes in fifth grade? It definitely feels like a step up in complexity.
It is. Reading, for instance, goes way beyond just comprehension. They're into literary analysis.
Figurative language, comparing texts, themes.
Exactly. And in writing, they're expected to structure arguments and essays, write multi-paragraph stories, even basic research reports.
With more independent editing, too.
Yeah, taking more ownership there.
And math sounds like it gets more abstract.
Definitely. Decimals, fractions, comparing them, adding, subtracting volume, graphing, even dipping toes into algebraic thinking.
Setting the stage for middle school math. And how does that abstract thinking ability we talked about help with, say, fractions or science concepts?
Oh, great question. It lets them understand that a fraction's a part of a whole, even if the whole isn't physically there. Or in science.
Like Earth systems.
Right. They can grasp interconnectedness, how one change affects another, even over long periods. Abstract ideas.
So science covers things like ecosystems, the human body, and experiments.
More formal experiments, yeah. Learning about variables, drawing conclusions, getting systematic.
And social studies, usually U.S. history, government basics.
Typically, yeah. Colonization, culture, civic responsibility, what it means to be a citizen.
And the document highlights SEL, social and emotional learning. That seems woven in.
It often is, or taught explicitly.
Yeah.
Things like self-management, empathy, peer mediation.
Identity development, leadership skills.
It's about the whole child, right?
Yeah.
Not just academics.
And the core message seems to be, this is the year they learn to defend their thinking.
Yes. With logic, structure, and finding their own voice, it connects to that growing sense of self we mentioned. They want their ideas heard.
Okay, so alongside academics, the social and emotional world is really shifting too. Friendships change.
Big time. It moves from friends because we play the same game to deeper stuff.
Like friends because we get each other.
Yeah.
Shared values, trust.
Exactly. Which means the dynamics get more complex, more emotionally loaded.
Peer relationships start having a huge influence on behavior, confidence, stress levels.
Definitely stress.
Yeah.
And identity and belonging become central. You might see kids trying on different selves.
It's like being one way with one group, another way somewhere else.
Yeah, experimenting. Maybe silly with close friends, but quiet in a big group. And puberty changes can shake up the social hierarchy, affect self-esteem.
And the document mentions some kids becoming invisible.
Yeah, sort of self-censoring, holding back maybe to avoid judgment or embarrassment. It's tough.
What about this idea of reputation consciousness? That sounds new.
It is new for them.
Yeah.
Suddenly, they really, really care what everyone thinks.
Yes.
Not just parents or close friends.
Teachers, other kids, the wider school community.
Right. And the document gives those examples like, they think I'm weird, or I don't want to be a teacher's pet.
Everyone knows I'm bad at gym.
Exactly. It's not just worrying about a specific incident. It's about their overall image or standing. They're starting to understand social capital, you know.
Wow. So the advice is to help them differentiate reputation, what others think, from character, who they are.
Yeah, and guide them toward wanting to be known for positive things like kindness or curiosity, not just popularity.
Which brings us to friendship as social currency. Sounds intense.
Can feel that way to them.
Yeah.
Being included feels like emotional survival sometimes, which, can lead to good learning compromise, negotiation.
But also the negative side, exclusion, cliques, maybe even bullying.
For sure. You see those fleeting best friendships, sometimes manipulative loyalty tactics.
If you're friends with her, you can't be my friend.
Exactly that. Or just the stress of being caught between groups.
So the document suggests practical tools like exit strategies for awkward situations.
Yeah, having some phrases ready and really reinforcing that values matter more than just fitting in. Role-playing difficult conversations can help too.
It's sad, but the document also flags early body image and eating concerns starting around now.
It is sad, but important to acknowledge. Puberty, peer comparisons, media messages. It can lead to food shaming, fixating on healthy eating.
Body comparisons, maybe even trying out dieting language they've heard.
Unfortunately, yes. And even casual negative comments about bodies can really stick at this age and plant seeds of shame.
So the safety nets are things like Neutral body talk.
Yes, focusing on what bodies can do, not just how they look. Diverse media representation helps.
Yeah.
And being mindful of our own adults, talk about food and bodies. They absorb everything.
So the big push here is for emotional fluency, understanding, and expressing feelings healthily.
Right. And relationship literacy, what does a good friendship actually involve? And encouraging belonging as yourself, not just trying to fit a mold.
Okay, shifting to the practicalities again. Homework, it definitely ramps up, doesn't it?
It does. The document suggests around 30-60 minutes a day, managing multiple subjects.
Less longer-term projects with less hand-holding.
Exactly. More independent reading and analysis required too. And prepping for various kinds of tests.
So more self-reliance needed. What about support at home? Planners.
Visual planners can be great. Weekly check-ins.
Yeah?
Breaking down big projects into smaller steps, chunking it, and encouraging that reflection after getting work back. What did you learn? Not just what grade did you get?
Right. And that little note, check if the work was done well, not just done. Quality over just completion.
It's a crucial shift.
Okay, digital shadows. That's a good term. Even without their own social media, the online world affects them.
Massively. Group chats among friends, online games, YouTube. It all shapes their language, their values, their sense of belonging.
And there's that tension, feeling left out if they're not online versus feeling overwhelmed or seeing stuff they shouldn't when they are.
It's a tightrope. So starting conversations early about digital identity is key.
Like, what kind of person do you want to be online?
Yeah. And co-creating screen rules, checking in regularly about what they're seeing and feeling online, good and bad.
Building that digital citizenship.
From the ground up.
Okay, extracurriculars. Seems like things get more serious here, too.
Often, yeah. Kids might start picking a main interest, joining competitive teams or groups that require auditions.
Which is great for passion, but the risk is tying their self-worth too much to success.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the document advises watching for balance. Is there still downtime? Unstructured play.
Signs of stress, sleep issues, irritability.
And checking where the pressure is coming from them or the adults. Keeping the focus on joy, not just trophies.
Because you can't force passion.
You really can't.
This is also when their own value systems really start solidifying, right? Maybe diverging from their parents.
Absolutely. They form stronger opinions on fairness, race, justice, rules, gender roles, leadership.
Asking bigger questions about religion, politics, world events.
Yes, and they get really good at spotting hypocrisy.
Ah.
Yeah. So the document suggests making space for these talks. Debate dinners, sharing your own changing views, encouraging respectful disagreement.
Okay, towards the end, the document outlines some important red flags, things to watch for.
Yeah, these are signs a child might need extra support, like excessive self-comparison or perfectionism.
Could signal anxiety, low self-worth, maybe even masked depression?
Right. Frequent, major friendship fallouts could point to boundary issues or underdeveloped social skills.
A sudden drop in grades or confidence?
Could be academic overload, social issues, maybe early executive function challenges starting to show.
And identity confusion. While exploring is normal, significant distress needs support.
Definitely. And that combo of social withdrawal plus high academic stress,
Yeah.
that's a worry for potential burnout or internalized pressure.
Other flags mentioned, excessive people-pleasing.
Could be masking, fear of rejection,
Never asking for help.
maybe perfectionism or helplessness, performance anxiety.
Mocking vulnerability in others.
Often a defense mechanism or reflects a toxic group dynamic they're in.
Obsession with popularity.
Seeking control or identity through status.
And that emotional flatness or disconnection.
Could be burnout, early depression, more masking. Worth paying attention to.
So following those warnings, the PDF offers skills we can actively help them build.
Yeah, positive things to introduce. Public speaking practice, maybe?
Self-advocacy, like emailing a teacher or asking for clarification.
Crucial. Stress management techniques, deep breathing, journaling, learning to prioritize.
Digital literacy, evaluating sources online, kindness, safety rules.
And those ongoing values conversations we talked about. What do you believe? Why?
Helping them articulate their own moral compass.
Exactly.
And the document ends with a really nice focus on the caregiver's role shifting.
Less commander, more confidant.
Creating that safe space where they can talk without us immediately jumping in to fix it.
So hard to do, but so important. Just listening, being a safe harbor. Modeling our own emotional openness helps too.
And that affirming message. You're growing into someone amazing, and I love watching who you're becoming.
It's beautiful, isn't it? Acknowledges the journey.
The reflection prompts for parents are powerful too, making us think. Are we supporting who they are becoming? Or clinging to the little kid they were?
Yeah. Making time for connection beyond just grades and homework. What values are we really reinforcing? Achievement, belonging, resilience.
Thinking about how we model handling mistakes. What values we show, not just talk about.
And how we model regulating our own emotions, setting boundaries, resting. It all comes back to us modeling, doesn't it?
It really does.
Huh.
So the final takeaway feels like fifth grade is this unique threshold.
Yeah, the last year of elementary, but with these huge developmental leaps happening, these subtle but significant emotional and cognitive stretch marks.
Love that term, stretch marks.
And our job isn't to prevent the stretching, right? It's to equip them
Give them the tools, the trust in themselves.
and be that soft place to land when they stumble.
So wrapping up this deep dive, it's clear fifth grade is incredibly multifaceted, so much transition packed into 1 year.
Thinking, feeling, relating to others, it's all evolving, laying groundwork for middle school and everything after.
We really hope this exploration of the 10-1/15th grade.pdf has given you, our listener, some valuable perspectives on this key time.
Yeah, whether you're a parent, an educator, or just interested in child development.
Which brings us to our final thought for you to chew on. Considering all this rapid, interconnected development happening in fifth grade, what do you think is the single most crucial skill or mindset for kids to cultivate during this specific year to best set them up for the complexities ahead?